Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench. We're at episode 115. My name is Elvis.
My name's Barbara. How's everybody doing?
What's happening, Barb? A little busy this week?
Yeah, very busy this week. Very happily. I've been at the bench all week, all day, every day. So it's been good.
Now, the last couple years, you've mentioned a few times on this podcast how sometimes you wish you could get back to the bench. And now that it's happened, and now that you're cranking on the bench, are you happy to be back on the bench?
Totally. That is they call it your happy place. That's my happy place. So yes, I'm very happy to be there. And I'm creating again, and my son's with me again because he was furloughed, and so now he's back, and he's doing anteriors, and we're messing around with the Mio stain. And
oh, yeah.
Amazing. I really like that. So, yeah, it's been really good.
What are you mostly doing, Emaxes? Or
yes, Emax and layering.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, that Mio stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm super happy with it.
I am by no means a glazer, but it seems like it produces a nice results, and their colors have the weirdest names I have ever known.
Uh-huh. True to that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, we're getting busy here in Indiana. I mean, it's picking up. We're bringing more people in and added yet another driver. That's always a good sign, and we're just cranking through it. I think it's going to even get busier. I think we're going to be probably back up to a 70% in July, I'm hoping.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good times, Elvis.
Yeah, all those webinars we took over furlough, they're really paying off.
Yeah. And we've gone from the coronavirus to the riots, and look at how fast the coronavirus dropped off the face of the earth and the riots came on. So it's been a rough time in our country, but I'm glad to be back at work. I'm trying to stay focused and positive, and that's what I have.
It's definitely an interesting time, but we're happy to be working. We're happy to be making teeth again. We're happy to be helping the community.
Yep. All right, so let's roll them.
Again, it being CDT and Dental Technician Appreciation Month, make sure you stick around to the end of this episode. We got a ton. Okay, not a ton. We got a couple more thank yous of people shouting out in our industry to celebrate.
Awesome.
So actually, it's a sad time here on the podcast. After many, many weeks of releasing recordings, we have come to the end.
Not our end, just the end. Let's make sure everybody knows that.
This episode has the last two conversations that Barb and I got while at the Argon booth at LMT Lab Day Chicago 2020. We should be getting ready to start playing conversations from the DLAT, the FDLA, and Lab Day West. Sadly, those shows never happened this year.
Bummer. Oh.
Yes, absolutely. So today we are going to celebrate the last of the face-to-face recordings from that time when it was okay for all of us to be in the same room. The two conversations we have are really, really good. So first up, we talked to Michael Thomas, CDT, and Shannon Foscue. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. From Edge Dental Solutions. Michael has a long history with affordable dentures, and with Shannon's help, they take their knowledge and experience to help labs all over the country reach their full potential. It's a neat concept. And then we talked to the queen of Lab Day, Judy Fishman, and Jenny Abbott-Cole. They stopped by for our annual sit-down with the crew from LMT. They talk about the show, the wonderful vibe that's going on, the new exhibit hall, and how LMT has gone to the digital format of their magazine to reach even a larger market.
Yeah.
So good stuff from the Argon booth at LMT Lab Day Chicago 2020.
Whitmix is super excited to announce the new Pro 4K large format 3D printer from Asiga. The open material printer for 385nm and 405nm resins features renowned Asiga reliability and super fast print mode for large batch printing of virtually all print resins.
It's ideal for printing any kind of model, dentures, splints, surgical guides, impression trays, and more. As with other Asiga printers, the Pro 4K features the SPS, Smart Positioning System technology, which ensures that the build platform is in the correct position when forming each layer, providing repeatable accuracy and production continuity.
The Asiga Pro 4K DL printer is priced at under $25,000, has a large build plate, and is available in both versions.
For more information about the Asiga Pro 4K, visit whitmix.com. We appreciate your support of the podcast, Whitmix. Voices from the Bench. The interview. All right, we are here day Friday. I always want to say day one because this is the first day I've been here, but it's actually day 2 of LMT Lab Day Chicago. We are at the Oregon booth talking with Mike Thomas and Shannon Foscue. What is
Foscue.
this? Foscue?
Yes.
Foscue. It's a new one. Have not heard that one. And you guys are from Edge Dental Solution in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. What is Edge Dental Solution?
Edge Dental Solutions is we're really a management opportunity for dental laboratories and dental technicians. We provide affiliation opportunities for really select laboratories and technicians, and we work with them to primarily take them into this next age of dental technology, help them compete, recognize opportunities in the industry, capitalize on those opportunities, help them with their own business financials, and help them understand where they have room and what they can expect from an ROI standpoint. But really the purpose is to, take some super strong talent that maybe at times, especially with the way the industry has evolved, we have a massive number of technicians and laboratories right now that are struggling a little bit with fear, understanding. They're overwhelmed. They know they have opportunities to succeed.
Yeah.
They know there's new opportunities, but pinpointing what those are and taking advantage of them is sometimes challenging.
You do that at the technician level or the lab level?
Both.
Both.
We've done it at both. And
interesting.
It could be on the technician level. It can be helping them understand what some of those opportunities are. It may be employment opportunities, or it may be individual ventures to start their own laboratory.
Really? Interesting.
Right. And we've done some of that. We've also worked with some individual small lab operations that, frankly, just would have been washed out in today's age with the way the industry, like I said, is evolving, and we call it a revolution. Some people call it a transition, but the way it's happening, a lot of these, frankly, super skilled technicians within these laboratories that have been very successful on their own for years, just honestly would have been washed out over the course of the next 5 years.
Because of their lack of getting technology, understanding the business.
I think understanding first and foremost is understanding the big picture. Yeah. Being able to really step back and look at the world around them and understand not just the dental laboratory industry, but the dentist practice industry, the manufacturing industry, and where it's all leading. For many of these groups, these small labs, they feel the pressures, but they're not quite sure how to react.
Yeah.
And then also too, some of the best technicians are artists, they're craftsmen, but they might not have the business acumen needed to run a marketing campaign or to build out commercial facilities or, what technologies to invest in. And so, and some of those basic foundational business operations they need help with.
Well, we hear about it all on the clinician side. You have a dentist that just wants to practice dentistry, but they have no idea how to run a practice, and they have no idea how to market it. Mm-hmm. It's no different than a lot of labs, I imagine.
Right.
That's true. In the old days, as you know, the relationship triangle was the dentist, the laboratory technician, and the patient.
Yeah.
And, of course, you had your suppliers that were also considered to be your partners.
Sure.
And it was those relationships were strong. They held, and they were dependent on each other. But we saw dentistry transform far before we saw lab technology industry transform. And I'm not sure it really has yet. It has to some degree, but not yet. And, you know, the DSO space is growing rapidly. Yeah. It's the fastest growing segment of dentistry. And it captures a certain market share. Technicians, you know, some laboratories have been able to take advantage of that, seize upon those opportunities. Others have been washed out by it a little bit. Individual technicians have had fantastic success, you know, as employees of some of those groups. But everybody's different. It's not for everyone. And, you know, some technicians in small laboratories, they don't want to be washed out. They need some help. They want to understand the big picture and how everything that's happening around us is impacting them directly.
Absolutely.
And their strengths and weaknesses are different. Understanding what their competition is doing.
Yeah.
Understanding what they can expect from an ROI standpoint. How they can maximize returns. Maybe take a real close look at their financials.
Yeah.
Over the last several years. See what they've done. See where they've missed out. Understand what's happening in the world around them, and then drive forward. There's a lot of these technicians think that those opportunities are very small and they're scared. But in truth, those opportunities are huge.
What does most of them think? That they have to go work for another lab? Or?
Well, they have to go work for another lab. They may not understand the value of their lab. They may be looking at an exit plan or thinking they were looking at an exit plan in 5 to 10 years, but not understanding what their value would be or the value of their business would be.
Sure.
And in fact, you know, if they keep going down the path they're going, that value could be minimal, especially with the pressures and the growth of other mid-sized lab operations around them. But if they do the right things, they can maximize their value and then figure out what kind of exit plan they want. Do they want to sell? Do they want to, maybe they want to invest in digital, but just a segment of digital, enough to increase some value, catapult them into that realm.
Or even to have their business continue for the next 5 to 10 years.
That's right.
Versus, you know, their timeline being, right.
And then maybe be attractive to someone that would be looking to buy them.
Yeah.
Or either merge. So we've worked with some labs that took advantage. You know, we're in a small area of eastern North Carolina. That area happens to have a lot of laboratory talent, removable laboratory talent.
Really?
A lot.
So that's the Mecca right there.
It really,
it's the breeding ground.
It really is. But what we found is that a lot of these small lab owners there had worked together in the past. They knew each other. They were friends. We invested in one heavily, and then very quickly merged with another and then acquired another. And currently in the process, and this all happened, you know, within the first few months. And now, almost a year and a half later, we're in the process of merging with another laboratory. And it's just to take some of this really, really strong talent, these small laboratories that are competing against each other, and instead they have a very clear opportunity to merge,
to band together,
share resources. Yeah. These are employee-owned operations, so they're all fully vested.
So Edge doesn't own them?
No, Edge doesn't own, although in one particular situation, when we founded and we started, we did start with Edge, and we did start with a core laboratory.
Okay.
So we did start with some mutual ownership in that scenario. Since branching out, that's changed. We expanded and went into 2 other states.
But I'm sure everything you've learned at Edge applies to whatever you're doing outside of it. I'm sure you learn a lot about laboratories having your own.
True.
Yeah.
But we formed these at the same time.
Okay.
It was a very unique situation. You know, what we did in our former life really taught us more about the business and the operation and laboratory operations, the practice relationships, what the market is doing.
Yeah.
how the industries impact each other, and which is more so today than it ever has.
You want to talk about your prior life? Or is that a hush-hush?
Which one? I had a couple. No,
we got to work on the elevator speech, though.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. I've got a different one every time I talk about it. Yeah, I was with Affordable Dentures. I had a small laboratory before that, and then I went to work for Affordable Dentures 22, I think now. It was 22 years ago.
As a technician?
As a technician. And I had some amazing opportunities within that environment, that world. I moved from a bench technician into a regional manager position. I was involved in new development, de novos. I did a lot of different things, and I had some really good fortune there. I went to work for the founding family when I started, and worked for them for quite a while. I had a really good relationship with them. And at some point, I would say it was 2009, I believe, one of those family members left, and I had the opportunity. He was COO of laboratory operations. I had the chance to move into his role.
Wow.
So for about 10 years, I ran laboratory operations for Affordable.
Wow. That's a big, how many labs do they have? How many
It was
locations?
huge. When I started with the company, we had 48 locations when I started.
Yeah.
When I took over that role, we had, I believe it was around 125.
Wow.
So we grew quickly.
Yeah.
When I left, we had
250?
250?
Well, I'm not sure of that. I've got to go back and really think.
Yeah.
225 or
That's
250.
a lot, though.
I think. I could be. Well, I do know this. We had 800 laboratory technicians. So I was responsible, along with my team, we were responsible for overseeing 225 or 50 locations, all with on-site laboratories, and a total of 800 technicians.
I didn't realize that so many had multiple technicians. You always hear about those kind of businesses having one technician. But.
Yeah, these operations were a little bit different. The Affordable operation had to. We had the vast majority of our business was built on removables.
Yeah,
and
sure.
We advertised same day or next day. So you had to have the technician base right there on site working with those dentists in order to accommodate that. And not one technician couldn't do it.
No.
There were certainly some locations that, did a few units a day, and one technician could satisfy that. But there were many, the average was 15 units a day. We had some locations doing
15 same-day dentures a day?
Sure.
Yeah.
We had our busiest location.
I'm thinking of the numbers we do, and it's like we asked for 6 days to do it.
Yeah, we had one location that, golly, they did 40 units a day. 6 ladies working in that laboratory, and they were a machine.
I bet.
Noticing he threw in there 6 all-female technicians.
They were. Now, we had a lot of trouble in that location early on.
No way.
No.
Drama?
No, hold on. You guys are jumping ahead. No, when I first took that location over as a regional manager, we had a male manager. I think maybe two male working in that laboratory, and it was trouble all the time. We had a fantastic dentist in there. He's the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But always having trouble. And so we had a little bit of turnover over the course of a year or two. And a lady took that operation over as manager. And I don't know, we turned around and we had six ladies working that lab, running that lab. And it was, you never had to go there again. It was just, it ran
I get it.
Beautifully.
I get it.
Beautifully.
I would always trust a lab that's run by all women.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Well, I've got some other stories I could share with you, but that one in particular was really something to behold. As a matter of fact, I went into that. I'll never forget. We had a waxer in there, and she waxed for 2 setup technicians.
Yeah.
So both setup technicians would set
Yep.
and hand their cases to her to wax.
Finish wax.
And she was the fastest waxer I'd ever seen, ever laid eyes on. And she had a system. And I sat down next to her one day, and I said, I want to learn your system. And, they laughed at me and all, but I did. And it was very simple. I mean, she went through 5 steps and never duplicated those steps. And she could wax a full upper and lower in under 3 minutes.
Whoa.
But think about it. I mean, she was doing 40 a day.
You have to.
And had been there for years. She had to. But her work was beautiful. She knew exactly how much wax.
That was going to be my next question. I could slap some wax on there in 3 minutes. It ain't going to look good. Most of it won't even stick.
She was amazing. But we were able to take that as a best practice and take her technique and
you taught it to the rest.
Teach that throughout the rest of the network. And things like that really helped us. I mean, if you just put 800 technicians out there and said, okay, you guys go at it, let's all knock out, 1,000 or whatever it was, units a day, it would be a mess. But these were teams that really worked with each other well, taught each other, fed off of each other, shared best practices, and there were some situations where it was absolutely beautiful. Sure. Now, of course, with that many locations and that many technicians, you also had a management staff for a reason. There were some situations that didn't work so well.
Sure.
But there was also, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of operation.
It was.
So then you left Affordable.
I did.
Why? I mean, obviously, do you want to go on your own, do your own thing? Or?
I had my reasons then, or I thought I did. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But looking back on it 2 years later, and being able to look a little bit deeper into my own psyche, I think I realized that 20 years was a really good run.
Yeah.
And we did a lot. Our team did some amazing things. And there was still a lot to do. That company has moved very heavily into digital.
Oh, yeah. They've partnered up with Carbon. I mean, they were
right.
talking about it. I mean,
there's still a lot to do. But looking back on it, I think I realized, I just wanted to do something different. I knew that.
I get it.
I felt like I'd put my mark, and a lot of my team had put their mark, really excelled on that company and its purpose.
Yeah.
And I saw a very clear opportunity within the industry to also do something very different and special and unique. And that's what I went after. Trust me, it was scary.
Yeah.
20 years in.
That's a big change, yeah.
I just had 2 children, or just had my second child.
Yeah.
And, was very used to the comforts of that job and that operation and the pressures of that job. But I just wanted to do something different. So it was a leap.
Yeah.
But I felt like there was just, like I said, the industry was ripe with opportunity. A lot of dentists need some really solid lab staff. There's a lot of dentists with a real strong desire for on-site services.
Yeah.
But they have no idea how to get it. They have no idea how to manage it, how to get those technicians, pick the right technicians, and maybe they need some help with that. We knew at the time that digital was going to be massive and it was going to continue to grow. I didn't know exactly what it would look like in 2 years. I just knew that
it's going to be there.
It was going to be there, and it'll continue to be there. And I do believe that now, everywhere you look. I mean, for the last several years, you come to these shows and it's digital, digital lab, digital dentistry. And I really do believe that in 5 years, we will have dropped that vernacular, and it won't be digital. We're in a transition. It'll just be dentistry and dental laboratory, and
it'll be the common.
The workflow will be fully digital. I think that there will still be absolute demand for conventional techniques.
Or at least knowledge of and the ability to do while you're doing digital. Absolutely.
And to transfer that to digital.
Yeah.
But there will still be demand for that. I think the demand will be smaller, but those technicians and those lab operations still have some opportunity ahead of them. Now, for how long, I don't really know.
Sure.
I wish I did. I do think that everyone in this business really needs to wrap their heads around what they need to do to not just survive. If you're looking to survive, 5 years from now, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You need to be looking for opportunities in which you will thrive.
Sure.
And really make a stamp, put your mark on the industry. We're sitting at, depending on who you ask and what report you look at, somewhere between 7,000 and 9,000 labs today. There's been a sharp decline over the last 10 years. I think that decline might even get steeper. If you look at other segments of healthcare, dentistry is sort of like the last frontier, right? I mean, it's catching up to what healthcare has done. Consolidation, merging of, super-sized healthcare providers. And the same's happening with dentistry. I think the same, you look at prosthetic and orthotics laboratories. I mean, there's very few massive operations out there right now, and these are billion-dollar companies.
Sure.
But if you really look, there's 10, 12, 15 that are super well-known, and they've been around for a long, long time. So, I'm a little bit afraid that we'll see a shrinking, more of a massive shrinking of the dental lab industry.
Yeah.
But there is still within that great opportunity for the technician to be a part of it.
I always hear that the amount of labs are going down, but the number of technicians is going up. So there's more technicians now than there were, even though there's less labs, because these consolidated labs are hiring more technicians, and now doctors are bringing technicians in-house, so there's more of them.
That may be true. Although I do take into consideration when I'm looking at employee base of a lot of these operations, choose my words carefully, I don't want to offend anyone, but there are a lot of training technicians.
Yeah.
There's a growing, I would call it a backbench of technicians in the industry in a lot of these laboratories. But a lot of the real skill is still departing, and it's retiring, it's getting out of the business, or it's selling. So certainly, you may have 50 employees in a laboratory, but I think we could all look at that lab and say, okay, how many of those employees are truly technicians?
Oh. Sadly, a small percentage.
Yeah, and so I do think that number is declining. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I do think it is. Now, that could change.
Sure.
That could change if we really focus throughout on the right education and helping to grow some of this talent that's sitting there really hungry for it, especially in the digital realm.
Yeah.
This newer generation of technicians that are coming in and learning, once they have that bench skill, maybe a couple of years of bench skill under their belt, and they understand the dentist relationship, they understand how to transfer what they're doing to the patient's mouth at delivery. That's rare. That's more and more rare. But when you have some of that, and now you start to adopt digital technology, whether it may be something very different than what you were doing 5 years ago, but whether it's design or some phase of manufacturing, post-processing, whatever it is, there's still great opportunity. It's just different opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. So when did you come on board with this?
Well, I worked for Mike in our former life for about 7 years.
At Affordable?
At Affordable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the interview process was kind of funny. That's a funny story. I was applying for positions in a small town in eastern North Carolina, in Kinston, and the morning that I applied for the position, I got a phone call asking me to come in, in an hour, that they were pretty much done through the interviewing process, but they saw a couple of things on my resume and just asked me to come in.
And this is not for a technician position.
No, this is not for a technician position. This was for an administrative position that also included some travel coordination and some management of the technicians. But no, I am not a technician. I've set maybe, 1, 2 cases. They weren't terrible, but no, I am.
Who you ask.
So I get to the interview, and I knew immediately within the first 2 minutes that I had the job. Not quite sure why, but you just, when you go in and it's a good vibe in the interview. And then I knew that I had sealed the deal when Mike asked me, I can't remember exactly how his question was worded, but it was something along the lines of, occasionally there's interaction with our accounting department. We have things that need to go back and forth. They might be challenging sometimes. How do you envision, overcoming that challenge? And I think my answer was something along the lines of, well, you just got to kiss a little ass.
Nice.
I don't remember exactly what it was either. I do remember I was asking her some questions, and she called herself, but she cussed in the interview. And I mean, I'd interviewed, I don't know how many, 10 or 12 people. And, they were very, some were nervous, some were stiff, some,
it's hard
and it was tough. But this was a key position. I mean, that number of technicians, that number of operations, that number of dentists, and then you have all of the other support.
You're going to have someone with a head on their shoulder.
This is a support position. This is a position that is intended to support.
Yeah.
In every day, everything you do, someone else is out there manufacturing, operating, sweating, seeing patients. And so everything that we did was support.
Support, yeah.
And you tried very hard not to get in the way of that, except in the few cases you had to, but support it.
Yeah.
So it was a key position. I mean, you had to really get it right. And, she cussed in the interview, and she slipped. So she said she knew in the first 2 minutes. I mean, it was at that could have been an hour in. I don't know, but that's when I said, all right, that's what I need.
Yeah.
I need somebody that's real, down to earth. I'm going to
probably
have some challenges I'm going to have to manage through, but I can fix that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't, but
haven't worked out all the kinks yet.
But, that's what happened.
Nice. So then when you left to do Edge, you took her with you?
No, I did not take her with me. I left her there. I wasn't sure that
He left me high and dry.
Good luck.
No, look, truth is she had really good opportunity ahead of her, and I was grateful for that. But they were making some operational, some structural changes.
As big corporations do.
Yeah, and when you're there for a long time and it becomes part of your culture and who you are. In retrospect, you look back and you say, golly, I wish I'd have been a little bit stronger in that area. Could have accepted that, understood the big picture. But there's certain things it becomes a little bit personal. I hate to say it, but it's true. We're all human. But one thing that was really, really important for me when I left was that my team have opportunity to move, if it wasn't still in the lab operation, somewhere else within the company and excel. And she did have that. A lot of my team did, and I was grateful for that. And some stayed and did amazing.
Yeah.
Some found other opportunities and have done really well. She stayed. They gave you, I don't remember exactly, but they gave her some opportunities with some things they were doing with practice support and various other things, and she was doing great. However, what really happened was that our operation was founded and based in Kinston, and that was moving to Raleigh, which is an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And not everyone could make that move. Some did. Some were able to commute, but not everyone could. And I think her situation was one that she has a daughter, family in Kinston. She was kind of grounded there, and she just really didn't want to move to Raleigh. So I don't know, it was some months later she sent me an email, called me, and we talked a little bit, and I think she decided she was leaving to find something else anyway. And then,
might as well.
I wasn't ready to hire at the time another person.
You made a position for her?
Well, no, I actually waited a little while. I told her I would as soon as I could.
Yeah.
And then we were able to. And we knew we had some really big things to do. Some of that I knew she would be really good at. She wanted to take a leap, so I said, okay, don't get mad at me.
You asked for it.
Yeah, you asked for it. You take a big pay cut?
Yeah, huge pay cut. Huge, by the way.
Yeah,
rub that in.
So what is your role there?
So a little bit of everything. Mike stated that we're only about a year and a half in. It can be anything from marketing strategy to logo designs to sales calls to, launching enterprise software. it's still a support role, supporting these practices getting or laboratories getting up, running. So my knack is kind of the strategy and the operations, whatever.
So let me see if I understand this. A lab, smallish lab, is looking to grow, and they contact you guys.
Yeah.
You guys will come in and help them with their administrative. Do I understand this, sir?
We look at their operation.
Yeah.
We do a couple of things. First, one of the first things we do is look at their individual market, their area, their region. Do some analysis there. Understand a little bit about their business from a bird's eye view, but also the competition. We will do some research on their target customers. How many dentists are in the area? What's the makeup? What's the mix? And then we try to get to know as much about their operation as we can, front to back, as much as is agreed upon. And then we will present what we think a business plan should be and how to excel. It could be that we look at an area and we say, golly, I mean, you've got 15 labs in this area. We did look at, I did look at one of these in Birmingham as an example.
Sure.
A lot of labs in that area. You've got some big labs in the area. Some heavy competition.
Yeah, I know of at least two.
Yeah, the best opportunity here is to think outside the box and look at some merger opportunities. And in that particular situation, there was really no way, without doing something like that, without doing something drastic, you were going to compete with the likes of some of those big operations that were there. That would have been a massive struggle, possibly a failure. And you don't want to see someone go through that. So let's.
Did that lab take that advice, or were they?
He did.
Whatever?
I sat in his lab one evening with him, and we talked for about 4 hours. And he didn't know what he wanted. He knew he wanted to exit in 5 years, but he also wanted to try to pass his lab on to some of his team.
His tab,
which were family. But it was going to be a real struggle.
Yeah.
It was going to be a real struggle. So I just considered other options, and we didn't end up doing anything together. That's not to say we might not one day down the road.
Sure.
But there's another operation in Alabama that was very small, and I looked at that. We looked at the areas, a fairly small town, but a high edentulous population, very high. And
Alabama? What?
Yeah, really? I know. And almost no competition. I said, all right, let's do this. Let's get you out of this facility that you're in.
Yeah.
Let's get you in a new facility. Let's get a little more staff around you. Let's make this thing sexy. His work is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Can't market himself. Let's take advantage of the opportunities you've got in the district, some district shows, meeting, CE courses with dentists. Let's start networking. Let's invest. We invested in him, different areas, some capital expense, some operational expense. Marketing. Shannon worked very hard on his marketing, got him ready for some shows, and really just started, and then selling, cold calling dentists for him.
Sure.
And getting his name out there, getting them to try him.
Because he was probably your traditionally introverted, removable technician that when the phone rang, they stare at the phone, they don't want to answer it. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
But I've known this guy for a long time. I know him really, really well. And I knew what he was capable of when it comes to his bench work and satisfying a client. Second to none.
Yeah.
But selling himself
was the hard part.
That's just not him. It's not the way how he's built. That's okay. He just needs someone to help him with that. Also, some of it is not just selling, but it's really opening his eyes to the opportunity. He's excited about digital.
Yeah.
Where most folks in his category would be scared to death of it. If he were to go venture out into it on his own, he would be scared. But he's excited.
Yeah.
And he's doing extremely well. I mean, he will just in a short 6 months, his business will double.
Nice.
And it'll keep growing from there. He's in an amazing market.
That's awesome. You guys are doing some good stuff.
We're excited.
Yeah. I've not heard of anybody else doing this. I don't know if it's a thing, but it seems to me that.
I don't think it is, not with laboratories. There's some successful labs out there, very successful. in the small to mid-range, and they're moving, and they're moving quickly.
Yeah.
They're doing some things really well. But there's a lot of technicians below that category,
Sure.
a lot of labs below that category that want some opportunity.
A lot of it's just finding the right people to do it. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I want to market. Okay, so I hire a marketing person. But if they don't understand what you do, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So if you can find the right people.
And you need people doing this that really understand lab.
Yeah.
You know, understand practice, dental practices. So I think we have that. We also, we've just expanded. We're moving into digital design. We have the talent, the bench talent that has, and the interest in transferring that to digital. We also have the talent that has embraced that very early and is really, really good in that category, particularly with removables. So we're moving into digital design and marketing that.
So you'll do the designs for the lab?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If they choose to outsource it, they have another option.
Yeah.
And we also have the manufacturing arm if they choose. But many of these, you know, at least 70%, maybe more, will already have their own manufacturing or something set up. They just need help with the designs. And, you know, removables are tough. Designs are still fairly new. People are still learning it. And a lot of laboratories may have their own department internally that's doing that. Many don't. Many need a backup.
Yeah.
Or overflow.
Or overflow. So we can do that. We do training, all sorts of different things.
Is it all with 3Shape or?
It is.
Yeah. Nice.
I think there's so much you can do. You know,
Yeah.
you just got to go out and do it.
That's amazing. Well, I appreciate you guys sitting down with me. Sorry he didn't let you talk much.
I'm used to it.
I
That's
bet
why I
you
wasn't.
are.
That's why I wasn't nervous about this at all.
I could tell on your face. You're like, yeah, he's on a roll.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys must work together a lot.
We do.
Elvis, thank you.
No, thank you.
I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Super appreciate you guys sitting down.
I've been listening to you for 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember when you started. I thought it was cool. And I had this little dream of, golly, one day I hope I get invited to do that.
Yeah, there you go.
But you did. Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Thanks,
the rest
Elvis.
of the show. So tradition continues.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
LMT Lab Day Chicago 2020, the last day, and we are talking with Judy Fishman. And we're also joined by Jenny Abbott-Cole,
Hi.
who came on the podcast. Is that a year ago?
That was a year ago.
It was.
Yeah, to talk about Chicago.
Yeah.
So how are things this weekend?
Wonderful.
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 Yeah.
Yes. And we're just blown away by the size of the show and the effort that everybody has gone to, all the manufacturers, to really outfit their space.
Yeah, there's some
To the max.
beautiful booths.
And make it very appealing and make everybody who attends feel very special and important
Yeah.
and cared about. It's a really nice.
There's a
it's
wonderful
really nice
vibe.
Yeah.
Very good vibe.
How is the other tower going for you?
The other tower almost looks like you're in at the IDS or Las Vegas. It's
Wow.
fancy. They fancied up because some of them had much bigger space. We didn't have enough space here to enlarge. Well, you can address that.
Yes, we didn't have enough space over here to expand some exhibitors who really wanted to have a bigger presence.
Well, I think you
So,
told us that you had to turn people away.
We
and say,
did. We had a
"No, you
waiting
can't
list for
have
many
two
years.
spaces." Yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to open up the second exhibit hall, give people more space, bring in companies who hadn't been able to exhibit in the past. And it looks beautiful over there.
It really does.
I'm going to stop by before I leave.
Yeah.
Check it out. I've heard really positive things about it.
Yeah, I heard it's like
super
a
happy.
day-long party over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Like,
I
heard they had a really good time last night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who told me that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Ricky Hockhauser, who was next door to Alien, told me she had gotten the highest score on their game.
Did she win?
Was she playing their game?
Yeah.
That's
you
amazing.
can win a laptop or something if you
Yeah,
play.
Oh, that's right.
remarkable.
They have a big prize.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, exhibitors shouldn't be able to win the other.
It's true. It's true,
So,
yeah.
But it's fun.
It is fun.
It's
I
just
like it when
fun.
people do different stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Argan doing the 3D, them doing the video game. I mean, that's some cool stuff.
And some people have beer.
I know. That's what I heard. I saw somebody walking around with a beer, and they said
there's
they
one
got
right
it at a
there.
booth.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, wait, that's Starbucks.
That's funny. That's crazy.
Before we say anything else, I just
Yes.
have to record my congratulations to Barb for becoming the president of the NADL. That's really
Madam
fantastic.
President.
Madam Secretary,
Thank
Madam
you.
President.
Madame Presidente.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Barb.
It's been a busy weekend.
I bet.
I feel bad because I left Elvis alone yesterday because I was doing a lot of NADL things. So, but yeah.
I
it's
know.
coming
I
to a
ran out of
close.
tissues. I had to help his tears.
Yeah, I was crying the whole time.
Yeah, I'm sure you
And I
were.
just stared at people because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I'm the
was
one that
terrible.
comes over and grabs people, and you do the great interviews. So
Yeah.
it's a good team. So how is this record breaker? I
It
heard?
is as of noon. As of noon, it was a
Wow.
record breaker, 4,700 plus. And I don't know. We're still registering people, so I think
Which is
we
insane,
may
'cause
get
we're
over 4,800.
We're like
which
an hour left, and people are still registering.
Absolutely.
It's really fantastic.
That's
and
great.
interestingly, we have another 1,000 people who registered who did not come. So imagine if everybody had shown up.
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? Where are
Yeah.
they going?
Well, I don't know, but I can say
Can't blame
that
weather. We had decent
No,
weather this
Yeah,
year.
it was really nice today.
fantastic out.
Yes.
Yeah. Compared to some years, it's been really nice.
Yeah. We are just excited to be expanding and looking forward to what happens at Lab Day West when we have a second exhibit hall there as
Oh, you're
well.
doing that too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's,
Wow.
people keep mentioning to us that they love the old days when it was all in one hall. Well, of course, who wouldn't love that it's in one hall? But what happens when you just outgrow space?
Yes.
You just outgrow
gotta
space.
move. You gotta
do
move.
what you got to do.
Yeah.
There is no other space unless we went to McCormick. And my personal feeling is that it would take away the warm fuzzies that
Yeah,
we
I would
have
agree
in
with
this
you on that.
intimate environment where
Yes.
you see everyone in the restaurant, in the bar, here, in the elevators, just everywhere.
Yeah,
You know,
I couldn't imagine being at the McCormick with the
It would be
dentist.
too big. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
terrible.
would just be too
I
big.
spend all my days talking to them. I don't want to talk to them on my
Right.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
Labs love that this is their show. You know,
Yeah,
it's the
I
biggest
would
one
agree.
for Labs only. And then if we kind of co-locate with the dentist show, you lose that it being just for them.
Yeah,
So.
we're going to feel like we don't belong. Yeah. We're going to have that feeling.
But it also is very nice. We have a fair amount of dentists at the show.
Yeah.
And we feel very honored by that and good, especially when I remember the startup. And I don't know if I had added that story in when I did the first podcast, but I was handing out the other magazine that I started first, the Modern Dental Lab, and I was standing out at, I guess it was at the Hilton where the show used to be, the dental show. And I was handing it to a person who came by and took it, and he was a dentist. And I said, thank you. And he walked about 10 steps away from me, and then he turned around and he handed the magazine back and almost shoved it back at me. And he said, oh, this is for dental laboratories. And he said in a derogatory way. And
How dare he?
Weird. It was just weird. It was like a closed-minded way to go about life. So this is very nice and refreshing, and it's like came around again.
Well, what's funny is we were at CDT Fest last night, which was a great event.
Yeah.
But I'm staying in there, and someone brings somebody over, and it's a dentist in my town. He just opened his own practice maybe 3 months ago. I just met the guy, got his work, and now here he is at LMT Lab Day.
Oh,
It was crazy. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? I was like, this isn't supposed to happen. It was so strange, but he's one of those younger dentists.
Uh-huh.
He's into the technology. He wants to grow it. He bought like an old practice, so he's got starting from scratch. What does he do? He comes to LMT Lab Day to learn about it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
It was really cool.
So my flight out here, whole bunch of lab people, whole bunch of dentists, whole bunch of manufacturers. It was just so fun to be on the. So this one guy comes by, and he's on his way to the men's room at the back of the plane, and he hands me a stack of papers. And he said, excuse me, ma'am, but would you hold this for me while I go to the back of the plane for a minute? And he's smiling ear to ear, and I'm looking at it, and I see that it's so-and-so, DDS, and it's his whole lab day schedule printed out with the seminars he's going to be attending. And he knew somehow
it was you.
recognized me.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and he just had a big hoot out of it.
That's great.
Awesome. Took his papers.
That's great. And then you canceled his registration.
No, then Kelly bumped into him in all these classes, and she's going to cover various events, and it's like almost they have the same agenda. It was
That's
just
awesome.
adorable. Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
Really
So we're going to be at Lab Day West this year.
Yes.
Super excited. I've never been. I think you've been.
I've never been.
You've never been either?
No, I've never been.
It's so much fun.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Chill California attitude.
Absolutely.
Super
100%.
excited.
So we will be there.
Awesome. And then, of course, Lab Day East again.
Yep.
That was a good show.
Yeah. We struggle a little bit with the East Coast.
Yeah.
With attendance.
Okay.
It's a very dense area.
Yeah.
New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, very densely populated, lots of labs. Don't know why they don't want to come out. And we analyzed to see how many we're getting from the East Coast to Chicago, and I think that's part of the reason.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
They hop on a plane and they come to this program.
Makes sense.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I feel bad for the technicians who like to be able to come to learn and aren't coming, are not being sponsored by the lab owners, I guess, to come and get some education.
Yeah.
But we have a good time.
You. Yeah.
Sure do.
We had a blast.
We had a blast last year.
I've never been to Philadelphia. It's a cool town.
Yeah, it is a very cool town.
Yeah, a lot of history there.
Yep. My nephew lived there for a while. My son went to college there.
Yeah.
UPenn. So, yeah, it's a nice town.
I know recently you brought out LMT in the digital format. Right? Yeah. Do you know the numbers on that? Are a lot of people looking at the digital, or maybe you don't know? I'm sorry.
I don't.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers.
There's a certain percentage that prefer to read it in digital because that's where they're consuming all of their media is digital.
That's where I look at mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
really?
I feel like it's a growing segment where as more people convert to only using digital for their newspapers, their magazines.
I will also admit that at first the big magazine comes to the lab and I'm like, oh, it's out, and then I look at my digital. But that's where I get all my stuff.
I'm kind of anti-digital.
I know. We had this conversation a long time ago.
It's really excellent for getting it to people overseas. Because sometimes we have a lot of trouble with the mail delivery system in some countries, and we go all over the world.
Do you?
So we encourage them to not pay for a subscription and just get the magazine totally free via the digital edition, which we will happily email to them if they just say yes, they would like that. So that's kind of how we use it. And what we do know about people who do like the print, they like to have the digital edition available for easy reference when they want to look something up in a hurry, and they can just do a search.
Or they're on the go, or they're in the middle of a conversation. Oh, I read that in LMT. What did that say? What was that number that they gave us? And they can just pull it up on their phone.
It's really
super
nice.
easy.
I think you guys did a good job with it.
Well, thanks.
Because there's some magazines that come out and they're terrible to read digitally.
Well, the reason we hesitated for so long is that our website by itself has all of our articles already on there, and they're all organized by category, and you can do a search and have them readily available.
Sure. But even though it's not the magazine, there's still something about page 1, page 2. There's still something about it, even though it's not there.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about you saying that? When we were deciding which company to go with, I kept telling them, but I want the kind that goes swoosh when you turn the page.
I do it in my head.
And you just did it. Yeah.
Sometimes I lick my finger, too, and I know.
Where's that alcohol swab?
But I think it's also the same experience where we went from listening to an album to having all the songs in a list. It's kind of the same feeling where you have all the articles organized on our website and you can search for them very easily via keyword, but there's something about having the whole thing, one issue,
in order,
January, and you can just turn the pages. It's the same thing with listening to an album from start to finish.
Yeah.
True.
Yep, I agree.
And you can read along.
And the nice thing is the ads, digital version, you can just click the link, right? Mm-hmm. I think I did that.
Yes,
that's huge.
Yes,
that is actually.
That's huge because I'll see something in the magazine. Oh, I want to check that out. Now I got to remember it. But this, I just hit the button on my phone and it just brings up the website. And it's super convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without taking you out of the site.
Exactly. And then I can go back and the magazine's exactly where I left off.
I just learned something.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
That's
convenient.
Great. I'll check it out.
It satisfies my laziness. Huge.
Cute.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us.
Yes,
I know
thanks for
how
having
busy
us.
you are. And,
thank you.
We appreciate the time that you came and you actually waited for us to finish up. So thank you so much.
Yes, you popular guys. We love being part of it.
To talk to you
supporting
guys.
what you're doing.
We'll see you in California in May.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
A big thanks to Michael, Shannon, Jenny, and as always, Judy Fishman. It's funny listening to the LMT conversation when we mentioned that we will see them at Lab Day West, and she casually asked for a sanitized wipe, and then unfortunately, Lab Day West was canceled. If only we knew then what we know now. And as of now, LMT Lab Day East is still a go. What is that, October?
Yeah, October.
But their website says that they will make a decision in July. So I'm hoping. I actually talked to Judy yesterday via email, and she says that they're, talking about it. So that's great. If it does go on, let's all support our industry and do our best to attend the meeting and make it an even stronger show. Plus, I know for a fact you and I are ready to get back on the road. I haven't traveled since February. Ready to go.
Yeah.
Now is the time that we allow others in our industry to say thank you and give thanks to others. With it being Dental Technician Appreciation Month, anyone can send in a simple audio recording of them thanking that special person or people in the industry. Here is the collections that we got last week. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Allie Williamson with the Ottawa Dental Lab. A big shout out to all the participants in this year's ODL Delta TOS study group. You guys are working really hard to prepare for your comprehensive CDT exam, and I couldn't be more proud. Also, a big shout out to all the CDTs in our company. We're all doing some great things out there, and we're great mentors for all the new CDTs coming.
Hey everybody, it's Tad at Rocker Dental. I just wanted to do a reach out to everybody in our industry and say how awesome I think you are. I really think we came together so strong as an industry, webinars, answering questions, keeping people informed, sharing technology, just really helping everybody be just a bit more relaxed during these troubled times. I'm really impressed with what we did. I hope and pray everybody's back to work at some capacity, and I really hope you can rock out the rest of this year. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all soon.
This is Joe Young from Young Dental Lab. Just want to give a shout out to my great team here in Philadelphia and to all the dental technicians from around the world. Keep up the great work.
Hi, this is Ann Steinbach, the CEO of Whitmix. Here's a shout out to dental technicians everywhere in appreciation for their knowledge, artistry, and friendship. Many technicians in the past 30 years have opened their labs to teach me both technical processes and the dental lab business. The list is long, it spans generations, and reminds me of how much I have to be thankful for in this industry. What I value most are the friendships. So just to name a few of the oldies and goodies, thank you to Dave Zelensky, Harold Burdett, Jeff Stubblefield, Walt Richardson, Al Filastri, and Ricky and Buddy Schaefer. And then there's some new friends I've made recently. So here's a shout out to Philip Gold, Allie Williamson, Dan Elfring, Denise Burros, and Barbara Wajden. So now closer to home, I value the dental technicians who work every day at Whitmix helping our customers. Now, it's a shout out to Keith Medley in our quality control, Bernie Jarslow in marketing, Jim Robinson in sales, Corey Lambertson, Evan Kemper, Bryce Hiller, and Will Devine in our technical support team and training. Thanks for all you do. Cheers.
We want to give a thanks to anyone who sent in their thanks. This is Barb and I thanking the thanking thanks.
Thank you for thanking me for thanking you.
I'm full of thanks. Thank you. But we need more. There's still 3 episodes left in this month. We know that there are many out there that deserve the thanks. Now, I tell you, this is really easy to do, and it really shows the ones that you are thanking your appreciation. Just record yourself on your phone or your computer. It's only audio, and email it to us at info@voicesfromthebench.com. It doesn't need to be professional, perfect, or even really long. Just say your name, where you're from, and who you're thankful for in our industry. It's a great way to give a good shout out to those who deserve it.
So send them in, please.
It's not hard. Don't make me beg.
Or make him beg. He likes to beg.
Whatever. I'm okay with it. All right, everybody. That's all we got. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good week.
Have a good one. Bye. Bye. What's that noise?
That was an air hose.